Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The topic of our discussion is stress management, and we started the discussion yesterday. There we made a point that before discussing how to deal with stress, it would be important to understand the source of stress. There are many stressors in our life, external stressors, like my work can be a stressor, my relationships can be a stressor, the few anxiety about future can be stressors. So there are many things that are stresses, meaning create stress. But our point is that all those situations or events can cause stress in me, provided there is some potential of stress within me. Meaning that only if I cooperate, that the external situations can cause stress in me. What is stress? Anxiety is stress, worry is stress, disappointment is stress, frustration is stress. And this stress often manifests as anger, sadness, depression. So what is the root cause of stress? Vedanta explains that basically the stress is because I have a problem with myself. How does that problem arise? Because as a human being, I am a self-conscious being. I am conscious of myself as well as the world around me. Secondly, I am gifted with an intellect. And it is the nature of the intellect to judge, to have an opinion about whatever it comes in contact with. Since I'm always conscious of myself, you may say that my first contact is with myself. And therefore, I always carry a judgment or opinion about myself as to who am I. And generally, this opinion is not very encouraging, meaning that I generally do not think too highly or too well about myself. Why is it so? Because I have expectations of myself. And I constantly evaluate myself based on these expectations. What I find myself to be and what I like to be. What is an expectation? Is what I like to be, what I want to see myself to be. As compared to that, I find myself to be so and so. There is a comparison as to the actual I and the ideal I. I have an ideal about myself as to what I should be. What is that ideal? That ideal is that I should be a perfect being, meaning that I should always be right. I should always be successful. I should know everything. I should be always under control. Therefore we find we are asserting ourselves often to control the situation. I very often try to show that I know that I should always know, I should always be right, I should always be successful. This is my expectation of myself. And when I look at myself, very often I find that my knowledge is not enough, meaning that I do not know everything, that I am not always right, that I am not always successful. This is what I find actually the case to be. And therefore, in my own opinion or judgment, I fail myself. I disapprove of myself. Unfortunately, the problem with being successful is that if I do become successful and at that moment I do approve myself or accept myself, but then my expectation of what success is keeps on rising, and I myself drive myself to a point when a time comes when I find that I am not successful enough. Because usually I have a low self-esteem about myself. I do not have a very good or approving opinion about myself, meaning that I have problem with myself in terms of not accepting myself, not being satisfied with myself. This creates a conflict in my mind where I am in conflict with myself. In the human mind, this conflict essentially constantly goes on. And that conflict is the primary cause of stress, because conflict creates stress. What is conflict? Not accepting what is, not approving what is, not accepting myself as I am, not approving myself as I am, not being satisfied with myself as I am. Yesterday we also said that we entertain so many complexes about ourselves also. Thus my body becomes a source of many complexes. My memory, my mind, my knowledge, all of these things become source of variety of complexes or opinions or judgments about myself. And each judgment, each opinion, each complex is generally of the nature that I am not good enough. And therefore, my self-non-acceptance, my dissatisfaction with myself is the primary cause of all the stress. Why do we say that? If I am happy with myself, I find that external situations do not affect me, meaning that I am able to deal with them, able to place them where they are. What is an external situation? Like somebody criticizing me, somebody insulting me, somebody not treating me respectfully, somebody not approving of me. Normally, whenever I confront this kind of situations, I become very sad. But if I am happy with myself, I am accepting of myself, then these external treatments do not have effect on me. Understand this. It is our experience that in a moment of happiness, I become generous, I become accommodative, I become more accepting. And therefore, even criticism, even those things also do not have any effect on me. Things have effect on me when they can manage to create in me a sense of self non-acceptance. As I said, when you declare me that I am stupid, if I am quite clear that I am not stupid, that statement of yours doesn't have any effect on me. But if I have a suspicion about myself that maybe I am stupid and then you call me stupid, that is when I resonate with you, and when that happens, that is when I feel unhappy about myself. So stress is created when I resonate with others. It is not merely the way the world treats me that causes stress in me, but when I resonate with the way the world treats me, then is the stress created, conflict created, self-disapproval created. Therefore, yesterday we said that the primary solution for all stress is self-acceptance. Accepting myself as I am. I find myself limited. I find that my knowledge is limited. My capacities are limited. My skills are limited. My achievements are limited. My accomplishments are limited. How do I say? In comparison with others. That's another problem. That human being always compares himself or herself with others and then judges oneself. So since my friend and I, both of us passed the same exam and both of us got jobs in different places, I find that he has become a manager and I am still a junior person, meaning I am not accomplished enough. Somebody is getting much higher salary than what I am getting. I am not accomplished enough. Somebody has more social context than I have, not accomplished enough. Like this, somehow I always am ready to declare myself inadequate, insufficient, not acceptable to myself. And therefore, the solution, first solution is accepting myself as I am. Meaning, accepting the limited self that I am. All of this becomes most necessary when there is a failure in our life, what we call failure. Now, success and failure, both of these are only subjective perceptions. There is in the world no such thing as success or failure. Well, of course, you can say that Brazil and Germany, Brazil failed and Germany succeeded. You can say that in the soccer match. But that is because we already defined success as scoring more goals than other person. Suppose success was defined as being able to play for 1.5 hours or whatever duration. Suppose that was success. Then both are successful. So first of all, we have an arbitrary criterion for success, and then we judge and we find ourselves either successful or unsuccessful. Now, judging myself as successful or unsuccessful, both of them cause stress. Swamiji, finding myself unsuccessful causes stress because it makes me sad. But calling myself successful is no stress, I'm happy. But there is potential of stress. There is what we call hidden stress, not evident stress. In what way? That when I am successful, then my expectation of myself automatically increases. Like Brazil, I think, has been 5 times world champions, in their soccer. If they had scored this one, they would have been 6 time champion. 5 times is not enough. 5 times is okay, you already are. What the country expects from you now? That you must be a 6-time champion. If you are not, you are a failure. You are no good. These fellows who are the best in the world are right now declared useless, no good. So success also creates a background or a situation for a future failure, in my opinion. Who lost in a Wimbledon? Federer. Yeah. And Djokovic, what is his name, Novak. So if Federer had won, he would have been the oldest man to win the Wimbledon. That would have been a distinction. So many titles he has won of no use. He did not have this distinction. Look at this. Now, how we set ourselves up, understand? So, whenever we declare ourselves successful, we are setting ourselves up for a potential failure. Therefore, failure is of course stressful, but success also has potential stress in them only because of the nature of our ego. Both success and failure are at the level of ego. And success, ego gratification. Failure, ego rejection. But the unfortunate thing with ego gratification is, it is like fire. And just as when you pour butter in the fire, how fire becomes more demanding, so also in the ego, when you pour more gratification, more success, ego becomes more and more demanding until we get exhausted with it. Therefore, this self-judgment of success and failure. Bhagavad Gita teaches that there is no success, there is no failure. Then what is it? There is only effort and outcome. That's all there is. Effort and outcome. And therefore, right thing is to gracefully accept what I cannot control. I can control the effort, but I cannot control the outcome. This is a basic rule. Effort is generally speaking in my control, but outcome I do not control. It is in my control to shoot an arrow from a bow. How to shoot, with what strength, what should we target, all of this is under my control. And whether to release the arrow or not, how to release the arrow, all of this is in my control. Meaning effort is in my control. But whether the arrow will hit the target or not is not something I can control. How nice would it have been if I could control that? Then no child would lose video games. No athlete would lose in Olympics or no, if you hit the goal with your head or whatever you do and you can score the goal for sure, you will never lose. We know that what we can do is to make an effort. But what the outcome will be is not something that we can control. And if we do not control, what's our attitude? God, give me the serenity or maturity to accept gracefully what I cannot control. So Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that outcome you cannot control. And therefore, accept the outcome gracefully. Swami, we have to accept it. What can we do? We did not succeed. No, that's not graceful. That is helplessness. Not accepting helplessly. What is gracefully? Graceful acceptance means when my mind is free from frustration, See, when I do not succeed, suddenly I get upset, disappointed, and get angry. Either I get angry at somebody if I consider that somebody as a cause of my failure because of this fellow, or I get upset with me if I consider myself as a cause of failure, then I get frustrated. So frustration is the result of anger at myself, and anger is the result of anger at others. So what is meant by non-graceful acceptance is when the outcome causes either anger or frustration. That means that I have not accepted it gracefully. I am reacting to the situation, meaning I am controlled by the situation. What is reaction? Something that I cannot control. Anger is a reaction which I cannot control. Anger happens, I don't control. How do you say anger I cannot control? Swami, I can control anger, I can. And so our Swami used to invite the audience. Come on, I invite you, please get angry. Get angry at me. Get angry. You can just clench your fist. You can, your teeth. You can make expression in your face. All of that you can do, meaning that you can bring about an expression of anger, but anger cannot happen in you. However you try, you cannot get angry. That's a very wonderful thing to know. Meaning that we do not get anger, anger gets us. Therefore, what we do is called action. What happens to us is called reaction. So anger, frustration, all of these are not actions, they are reactions. Reaction means that I have not accepted gracefully. Graceful acceptance means that I remain under control of myself. Meaning that when my response is free from anger, free from frustration, free from blaming, then the response is called action. Otherwise, when there is blaming, when there is complaint, when there is anger, when there is frustration, when there is disappointment, that is a reaction. That is stress. Meaning that when I do not accept a situation gracefully, then there is reaction from me. This is called stress. Anger is stress. Disappointment is stress. Frustration is stress. Complaint is stress. Blaming is stress. So one lesson is accept gracefully what you cannot control. Because you have to accept it anyway. So why accept helplessly? Now what happens is, when I am not accepting a situation, in reality I am not accepting myself, understand? Because success and failure are not a problem to us. I made an effort, it did not succeed, okay. When does it become a problem, A failure is not a problem. When I say, I am a failure, then that's a problem. Meaning that I transfer upon myself the doership or the authorship of the outcome. Gita says that you are the author of the effort. You are not the author of the outcome. You are the author of effort, meaning you created effort, you have freedom in the effort, in deciding whether to make an effort and what kind of effort to make. You have the freedom as far as effort is concerned. Therefore, you are the author of effort. As far as outcome is concerned, you are not the author, because you are not the one who controls the outcome. Or you can hope for the outcome. You can work for the outcome. But then you do not control the outcome. Therefore, effort is given to you. The outcome is given to you. Therefore, don't judge yourself based on outcome. So failure is not a problem. I am a failure is the problem. Because I am the problem to myself, nobody else. Our Swamiji says, you are the problem and you are the solution. So whenever I transfer or superimpose these things upon myself, then I myself become a problem to myself. A failure I is a problem to myself. Why is it so? Because I always want to see myself successful. I have an expectation of myself. I have an expectation of myself. What is that expectation? That I must always be successful. And when I judge myself a failure, then I disapprove of myself. Thus there is a conflict within my own self, and that is what causes disappointment, frustration, anger. It is not the failure that causes that. It is the judgment. I am a failure. That's what causes it. So what do we need to do? Just create a distance. I do not have freedom as far as success and failure is concerned. I have freedom whether to judge myself success or failure. See, that is where the freedom is. Little freedom, but a very important freedom. It's up to me that I made an effort, the effort succeeded, or the effort failed. It is for me to brand myself successful or failure. If I do not brand myself, then I remain free from the influence of the outcome. So therefore, when we say that accept the outcome gracefully, really it amounts to saying accept yourself gracefully. Ultimately, it all amounts to gracefully accepting myself. Again, what is graceful acceptance? When I am free from complaint, free from blaming, free from frustration, free from anger. Then what am I? When there is a glad acceptance. When I am glad, when I am cheerful, when I am happy. So really it is up to us whether to convert every situation into a self-condemnation or whether to convert every situation as a source of being glad. Meaning that you can enjoy, what we need to resolve is just enjoy what is, love what is, enjoy what is. It's up to me to enjoy what is. Enjoy this flower as it is. If I expect that this should be a rose or a lotus, then I cannot enjoy it. Now, that's what I normally do. I normally expect things to be different from what they are for me to be able to enjoy them. Many years ago, when I used to be in New York City, see, when you are in New York, you always are host to a number of guests. When people come from India, they are with, they spend some time with you. When they are leaving for India, then also they come. And when you take them around for sightseeing, with pride, as though this is New York is yours. So there's beautiful Hudson River. And there is, beautiful driveways, nice hills, forests, beautiful place with river. So whenever guests would come, I would proudly take them in my car and take them for a ride. Then there are some what they call the scenic outlook points, where you can go there and there are, you can have a beautiful panoramic view. So I took this friend of mine to one of this and proudly showed him as though it belonged to me, But you get identified. See this? How beautiful. How do you like it? I asked him. Quite assured that he would be happy and say, oh, this is wonderful. You know what that fellow said? Hey, this is good, all right, but not like Mahabaleshwar. Means a place in India, not like Mahabaleshwar. Not like a certain place. My balloon got flattened, This person could not enjoy what is because he expects it to be different from what is. So what deprives us of enjoying what is our expectation or demand that it should be different from what it is. I want everything to conform to my expectations. I want everything to conform to my likes and dislikes. And therefore, I always react. If something conforms to my like, then also I react with elation. If something does not conform to it, I react with disappointment or depression. Therefore, accepting what is without making any demands that it should be different from what it is. Thus, there is a situation. First of all, I brand a situation favorable and unfavorable. I first brand. And then I react. So do not brand favorable or unfavorable. Say that it is right. What is in order. What is right. Swami, how do you say what is right? Only because what is the product of infinite wisdom. So we say that this universe is created by universal wisdom, and that universal wisdom alone manifests itself every moment as to what is, meaning that whatever it is that one confronting at a given moment is the manifestation of universal wisdom. You can call it God if you want, or call it universal wisdom. Then that is universal wisdom that you would accept, because the universe is functioning in a wise manner, not in otherwise manner. Everything in the universe is functioning according to a certain order. We find that in the universe there is harmony among the different elements making up the universe. They all function in harmony with each other, in cooperation with each other. Therefore, there is a harmony. Just as in my body, my different limbs and organs, all of them function in cooperation with each other. There is no competition. My hands do not compete with legs, and legs do not compete with head. If they competed, there would be a problem. If my legs competed with the head, then you know what the legs would do? They would deliberately step into a pothole and make my head fall and hit. If my head competed with the legs, you know what the head would do? He would deliberately guide the legs in the wrong place so that the legs or feet are in thorns or on potholes or something. But that doesn't happen. The eyes guide the feet so that the feet avoid any kind of potholes or any kind of stones, etc. And by chance, my toe happens to strike against a rock, gets hurt, right away the whole body responds and the hands caress that toe. Hands do not say, hey, the toe is hurt, what do I care? No, it does. Just as in our body, we find how all the limbs and the organs are functioning in cooperation with each other. Therefore, there is a harmony. That means that the body is functioning in an intelligent manner. There is an intelligence which is running this body. Similarly, we find the whole universe also. The different components making up the universe. Now, we don't know about the things beyond the solar system, but we know that in solar system, the sun and the moon and the fire and the water and earth and all these elements are functioning in harmony. For example, the sun is very bright. If the sun decides, if sun competes with moon, then the sun will never surrender its place. It will keep on shining and the poor moon will have no opportunity to shine at all. But when the right time comes, the sun retires, leaving the place for moon to shine. When the time comes, the moon retires, leaving the stars to shine. When the time comes, the stars retire, leaving the lightning to shine. When the time comes, the lightning retires, letting this lamp shine. And thus, everything has its place. Everything has its contribution. Everything is where it should be, how it should be. We may not know everything as to why certain things are what they are. And there may be many questions in our mind as to why things are happening the way they are happening. Maybe. We have questions, we may not have answers, but that is because our knowledge is limited. We do not have universal knowledge. We do not know the past, present and future. And therefore, there may be events in the present which in our opinion may not make sense. But if you knew that whole picture, everything would fit in the picture. The idea is that there is something called universal wisdom, because the whole universe and every little thing, including an atom, comprising the universe, is all functioning in a very intelligent manner. It is an intelligent creation, serving a useful purpose. Nothing is useless. Nothing is redundant. We may not know the use of certain things. We may think that appendix is useless. We may think. Doctors think that you don't need appendix. And you don't need this, what do you call them? The tonsils. You don't need gallbladder. They will be ready to remove all of these things, But no, all of these have something to contribute. Otherwise they would not be there. Thus we may not know what is the role or the function of a given thing, but we can be pretty sure that whatever it is has a role to play, has something to contribute. What is has a place. Nothing is redundant. And this cannot be unless there is intelligence. There is universal intelligence. There is universal wisdom, which is running this universe, which has created the universe, which is running this universe. And therefore, coming back to our discussion, if you accept it, then what it means is that whatever is created every moment is the result of universal wisdom. Meaning that whatever is created every moment is there for a purpose. And therefore, rather than branding something as success and failure and then suffering from complexes, what is in order. What is what should be. Thus, what this involves is simply a change of attitude, understand. My attitude is always to judge everything based on my fancies, based on my likes and dislikes. If something conforms to what I like, then I brand it in one way. If something does not conform to what I like, I brand it in a different way. Meaning that, in spite of living life, આપણે જ અવાજ કરીએ છીએ? This thing? Oh, I thought it's coming from there. I thought these fellows are making noise. No, I'm making noise. Okay. So what we do is we retain our likes and dislikes intact. And we keep on judging and branding things around ourselves based on our likes and dislikes. But these likes and dislikes are such that there is no order. They are like a flux. They keep on changing. And more I satisfy my likes and dislikes, more they grow. And therefore, generally, I am controlled by my likes and dislikes. And based on that, I judge everything and respond or react. Thus, with these likes and dislikes that I have, there is all the potential of disappointment, frustration, complaint, even elation. All of these are stresses. And therefore, what is meant by graceful acceptance? God, give me serenity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. We would say, God, give me the maturity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. What is maturity? Maturity means being objective, meaning not controlled by likes and dislikes, not controlled by my fancies. And therefore, you know what we can do is, rather than judging and branding every situation based on our likes and dislikes, we can accept the situation as right and change our likes and dislikes. Meaning that what is right. What is likable. Suppose you say that. Suppose this is your attitude. No, it's up to you. Attitude is under our control. What happens there is not in my control. But how to view it is in my control. And therefore, this is called graceful acceptance. When I do not let my likes and dislikes determine the things, I do not let my likes and dislikes judge things or brand things. On the other hand, I say to myself, what is right. What is in order. What is good. Swami, how do you say that? So many painful things are happening in my life. How do you say it is right? When pleasant things happen, we can you say it is right. How can you say painful things are also right? We accept that pain also must have a role to play in our life. If pain did not have a role, there would be no pain. Pain would not be created if it did not have something to contribute. If there is pain in my stomach, then I know there is acidity. If there is acidity in my stomach and no pain, you know what would happen? My stomach would get destroyed. The acids would destroy my stomach and I would not even know. Like these cancers do, I don't know. When you do not know what is happening, then we meet with tremendous surprises. But the pain is good. It draws my attention to something that needs to be done. If pain was not there, then I would not do what is required to be done. Some children are born, I think, without the sensation of pain. Some kind of disorder it is. Meaning that they don't feel pain. So children are running around. If they hit their head with a wall, they don't feel the pain. If they strike their toe, if there is a fracture also in the toe, they don't feel the pain. Soon enough, all their toes are fractured because they don't feel the pain. So is it good to have pain or not? It is good. Otherwise, pain is a protecting mechanism, is it not? It is something that draws my attention. This is a physical pain we're talking about. Similarly, emotional pain also draws my attention to something that needs to be corrected. Pain means that I have violated something. And it tells me to correct something. So whenever pain happens in me, at the physical level or emotional level, I should learn from that and recognize that there is something that I have to change, I have to correct. Because this universal wisdom that we are talking about is not a mechanical principle, is not an inert principle, it is a conscious principle. It is a conscious, intelligent wisdom. Therefore, we are constantly interacting with that wisdom. And that wisdom is a benevolent wisdom, not a punishing wisdom. Meaning that there is a built-in, arrangement in this whole creation, that it is meant for my growth, meant for my well-being. Well-being or growth does not mean there is no pain. Sometimes bitter medicine is required. Like a child is administered a bitter medicine. When we were growing up, we always used to go to Ayurvedic physicians for any little ailments that we had, sickness. And Ayurvedic medicine is always bitter. No child wants to have it. But mother has to administer the medicine to the child. So when the time comes, mother reaches out for that medicine. And I know that she is reaching out for a bitter medicine which I don't want. And therefore, I try to escape. And this mother of mine catches hold of me, puts me on her lap, presses me with one hand. Firstly, do not cooperate. Closes my nose, my mouth opens, and she pushes a spoon of the bitter medicine into my mouth. I hate it. A child here would say, "Mom, I hate you." We didn't say that because that was, but here, I hate you. You are cruel. So sometimes mothers also are cruel. For what? To be kind. Meaning that sometimes, so kindness does not always mean that you satisfy all the desires and demands of the children. That doesn't mean kindness. We may be spoiling them. Kindness involves wisdom. Sometimes you give them freedom. Sometimes you restrain them. Sometimes you do what they want you to do. And sometimes you restrain and says, no, thus far and no further, because it will hurt you. So, mother doesn't have an agenda for herself. Her agenda is only for the child. But for well-being of the child, how mother sometimes has to be cruel also, generally kind, but sometimes cruel also. Similarly, we find this universal wisdom sometimes kind to us, sometimes not so kind to us, cruel to us. But that cruelty is not meant for punishing us. That cruelty is meant to help us grow. So pain is always an occasion to grow. Pleasure is to encourage us. Pain is to help us grow. If this is the attitude, that is up to me to have this attitude. And this attitude comes only because this is a teaching of scriptures. My limited intellect may or may not come to this conclusion. But from the scriptures, we see that that is what they teach. That this is an intelligent creation, serving useful purpose. The every moment is universal wisdom, the benevolent wisdom that manifests itself. And that's how we deliberately entertain that attitude of responding to everything, that everything is right, everything has a place. That doesn't mean that I remain passive. This graceful acceptance does not mean that I remain passive. This question is asked, Swamiji, when you accept everything, then how will the change come? Acceptance is not the description of an action. Acceptance is an attitude which is in my mind. What is that? It is an attitude because of which I do not react to situation. I am able to maintain the balance of my mind. I am objective. That is called the graceful acceptance. With that objective mind, then I can decide how to respond. So response comes from always an attitude, whatever attitude I have. So graceful acceptance does not mean that I stay there folded hand, do not respond, do not do anything. It's not passive. It is a dynamic situation. So graceful acceptance gives me an objective frame of mind, a non-reacting frame of mind, an understanding frame of mind, a positive frame of mind with which I respond to situation as the situation calls for in my understanding. So a person who accepts gracefully also is an active person. He is an objective person. Therefore he does not react, he acts. Action means deliberation. We said yesterday that human beings are given free will. What is free will? That I can perform a deliberate action. Thus, in every situation, I perform a deliberate action. When I deliberate, I weigh the pros and cons and then respond. But that weighing of pros and cons is done with an objective mind. When my mind is objective, then I can assess the situation properly. I can come to a proper understanding and then I can decide my response. If I am a reacting person, if I act out of anger, frustration, disappointment, jealousy, then in all likelihood my assessment will not be right. My conclusion will not be right. My response will not be right. It would be a reaction. Therefore, this whole attitude of graceful acceptance. And as I said, in gracefully accepting the situation, in reality, I am gracefully accepting myself. That this is what I am. That yes, I am a limited being, I accept it. That my body is wonderful. It's a great gift, but it has its limitations. My mind is a wonderful thing. It's a great gift, but it's limited. My intellect is wonderful, great gift, again having limitations, because it is a rule. Whatever is created is limited. I am also created, therefore I am limited. My body is created, so it is limited. My mind is created, is limited. And we gracefully accept the fact that these things are limited. So, gracefully accepting my limitations will enable me to gracefully accept the situation. and maintain an objective frame of mind. Ultimately we say that look, in spite of all the limitations, you are limitless. There are limitations as well as limitlessness. There are limitations, the body is limited, the mind is limited, the intellect is limited. But you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. Then who are you? You are a conscious being who possesses a mind, who possesses a body, who possesses an intellect. Swami Vivekananda's famous statement, I am not the body possessing consciousness, I am the consciousness possessing a body. I am not the body possessing consciousness, I am consciousness possessing body. Who am I? I am consciousness possessing a body, possessing a mind, possessing an intellect. Why is there this body, mind, intellect? Why is there personality there? For the expression or manifestation of consciousness. Just as electricity is there, but electricity requires a bulb or an appliance to manifest. Just as bulb is the source of manifestation of electricity, so also this body, mind, sense organs, what we call the personality, is the locus of manifestation of consciousness. So consciousness, as though, has deliberately adopted this instrument to express itself. But just as electricity is not bulb, and so also I am not this instrument. Who am I? I am the consciousness manifesting through instrument. Thus, finally creating a distance. First, I create a distance with the situation. I create a distance with my likes and dislikes. And then, that gives me a frame of mind. See, when I'm agitated, I can't do this. I can't declare that I'm consciousness, my mind is agitated. When will that statement have meaning to me? When I enjoy a tranquility of the mind. When I enjoy a self-acceptance. When I'm happy with myself. When I'm content with myself. Let it be limited. What does it matter? Why can't I enjoy the body as it is? Why do I want to be 3 inches taller? Why can't I enjoy what it is? No, I should be 3 inches taller because my friend is tall. I should be 15 pounds less because my friend is this. I keep on imposing this upon myself. Why can I not enjoy, gracefully accept my body also as it is and enjoy it? It doesn't mean that you can't change it. You try to change it if you want to, but don't reject. For changing, you don't have to reject things, you see. People think that we must have dissatisfaction to change something. No. You accept it gracefully. Enjoy what is with a commitment to change or improve, if there is scope. Enjoy mind with its capacities. Let it be limited. I accept my mind is not as sharp as somebody's mind. It doesn't have as much grasping power as somebody's mind. He is not as smart as somebody. Okay, doesn't matter. Everything has its own place. I also have my own place. And if I was not meant to be what I am, I would not have been here. So an ant also has a place. An elephant also has a place. An ant need not feel inferior to an elephant because an ant has its own place in the scheme of things. An elephant has its own place in the scheme of things. The sun has its own place in the scheme of things. The moon has its own place. The stars have their own place. A little lamp has its own place. A lamp need not feel inferior or superior. Again, of gracefully accepting and being happy with what is, with my body, with my mind, with my intellect, with what is, with the commitment to change if you think it necessary. So when that happens, when that self-acceptance happens, then you get a frame of mind when you can create a further distance and say that the body, sense organs, mind, intellect, I'm not. I'm the consciousness manifesting to them. I'm independent of that. All limitations belong to his body, mind, sense complex. They do not belong to I. Meaning that I am limitless in spite of these limitations. This knowledge is the final answer to all stresses. But before that, there is an essential freedom from stress, not total. As long as there is a sense of limitation, it is stressful. But when that limitedness is accepted, then the stress is much reduced, and finally, this distance takes place, that I am consciousness, limitless, then there is a total freedom from stress. So, with the right values and attitudes, we get relative freedom from stress. And with the knowledge of the self, we get the ultimate freedom from stress. So thus, this two-step program that Bhagavad Gita teaches, first is called yoga, karma yoga. Second is jnana yoga, meaning the yoga of action and then the yoga of knowledge. This two-stage program for freedom from stress. I conclude here, and if you have any questions, we have some time available with us. Now, do you have a microphone? Oh, wired. Then come here. Those who want to ask questions may come forward.
I don't want to use the microphone.
No, but we want you to talk in microphone so we can hear.
I just had a question about your body as a whole. When something hurts, do you think that it's good to say the shoulder or my shoulder? Because you're having ownership, but it's not part of you? I'm interested.
You see, when it hurts, it is difficult to create a distance. When the shoulder hurts, it's difficult to say, I am not the shoulder. It would be wonderful if you can say that the pain is in the shoulder, not in I. But it's difficult when pain is there. Therefore, when there is pain in the shoulder, I say, yes, there is pain. It's a reason to be there. What do I learn from that? How can I proceed from here? What do I do with the pain? What do I learn from that? And how I can proceed. So not reacting to the pain, meaning that not being frustrated, not being disappointed, not being anxious, retaining an objective frame of mind to deal with it. It's quite long actually.
Swamiji, you said about stress and self-esteem, that when you have a low self-esteem, then stress, you feel more stress.
Mm.
So I have control on my self-esteem and I can change my attitude and work for that. But when you are surrounded with people who has low self-esteem or high self-esteem, either way, how to help those people to increase their self-esteem or decrease the self-esteem to cope up with their stress?
Well, if you are surrounded with people who are stressed out, number one, we can be kind to them, make them comfortable. So, I may not be stressed out, but sometimes when somebody else is stressed out, so what is this? Why are you stressed out? How can you? What's wrong? There's no reason. That's not the way. Be kind to that person. make that person comfortable. That yes, it is quite alright to have stress, because it is there. The person is stressed out. Therefore, from the standpoint of that person, there is a reason for stress. From our standpoint, there may not be reason for stress. Meaning that in a similar situation, I may not be stressed out, but the person is. Everybody has different immunity, you see. In a given situation, I don't catch cold and cough, and then some people have all these pollens and this and that, and every season comes and they, So what is this? What sort of thing? How do you have this cough and cold? See how I am. Well, that's not the point. That's how that person's immunity is. That's how the constitution is. So number one, being genuinely kind and accepting and making the person comfortable in our presence. If that is so, then person will be free to express where the person is coming from, what difficulties are there, what causes that stress. And then if you understand what can be done about it, basically it's often a change of attitude. Then if you have that insight, you can share the insight with that person. But understand that the other person will be willing to listen to you, provided you have created a respect for that person. See, to advise also, we must first get fitness to advise. Fitness means yogyata, fitness. I want to advise you, but you should accept me as fit to advise. Then only I can advise you, otherwise advice will have no meaning, you see. I can say something to you, counsel you, advise you, teach you, provided you accept me as a teacher, then only I can teach you. You accept me as a person with whom you can share, from whom you can get the knowledge that I can share. So first of all, I must acquire a position of respect in your mind. Then alone I can help you even. People refuse to be helped, because the person who wants to help has not acquired a position of respect in the mind of the person who needs help. Even though I need help, I reject that. I don't want. I'm hungry, I don't want food from you. Sometimes say that. Because in our opinion, that person is not worthy of feeding me. So we must first, it's very important. We keep on telling our children to do this, but they don't, because they do not know if we are worthy enough to tell them what we are telling them. For that matter, anybody. Thus we must prove ourselves to be worthy in their perception. Then a right kind of setup or relationship is established when I am in a position to advise, to share, to console, whatever. So in short, if I am a person who is relatively free from stress, and I am surrounded by people who may be stressed out, then naturally I want to help them. For helping them, I must first of all gain from them a status of worthiness of helping them. Meaning accept them as they are, be kind to them, and make them comfortable with you, so that they will share things with you and they will be able to accept respectfully what you have to share. That's how we can help.
Sorry, do you believe in evolution, as the scientists argue that humans were not created as is, but rather are, because of evolutionary pressures, have been modified from monkeys and before that even more primitive
Unicellular organism.
Right, yeah, and as opposed to simply God having placed human on the earth as is currently.
Yeah, we have no difficulty in accepting evolution as the scientists tell us. Basically, Vedanta is open-minded. There is no point in denying or resisting the proven facts. So science has shown the evolution from unicellular organism all the way up to human beings, and I don't know whether it is complete or it will go on still, I do not know. Somebody says that now the evolution is complete, some feel that it may go on, doesn't matter. We have no difficulty in accepting the process of evolution as the scientists tell us, but we have a big difference there. Science believes that consciousness has evolved, understand this. Science believes that consciousness evolves from a unicellular organism to human being. We say that consciousness does not evolve. It is organism that evolves. Consciousness is always there. And what is the organism? The organism is the place or locus of manifestation of consciousness. To give an example, electricity is always there. You insert a 5-watt bulb, there is that much light. 50-watt bulb, more light. 500-watt bulb, more light. 1000-watt bulb, more light. So evolution has taken place not in electricity, in the bulb. Similarly, we say that whatever you call unicellular organism or whatever it is, that organism has evolved. But that organism is not consciousness. Organism is the locus of manifestation of consciousness. Meaning consciousness does not evolve. Consciousness is always is and is limitless. What evolves is the locus of manifestation of consciousness. In that sense, we differ from scientists. You follow? Because science does not accept consciousness as an independent principle. For science, consciousness is the property of matter. For us, matter is the manifestation of consciousness. See the difference? So that is where, that's a basic and very important difference. But as far as the scientific evolution in the organism is concerned, we have to accept it. You can't deny, you cannot deny the realities. So Vedanta would not deny the realities or what the science reveals. In fact, we have found that whatever science is revealing is in conformity with what Vedanta has been saying for all the time. What Vedanta taught is that Jagat is mithya, it is relative. The universe is relative. This is what Vedanta has been teaching for thousands of years. Now scientists have proven that this three-dimensional world is relative. It is a projection of a higher reality. That's what Vedanta teaches, that Jagat or universe is a projection of Brahman. But anyway, so we find that we have no quarrel with science. Science seems to be confirming whatever it is that in broad principles. We never talked about atoms and molecules, etc., but in terms of the basic principles, we have no difficulty with science.
So Swamiji, in the daily life, talking about the stress management, so there is a possibility that you can avoid the stress to begin the day with.
You can avoid the stress. Yes, if you can avoid, try that. If you can change the situation, do it. If you can create distance, do it. Meaning that it is not that we have to invite the stress, we have to jump into stress. If you can avoid, do that. You try to change, you do that. But things happen anyway, beyond our control. So, another good way of dealing with the daily stress would be what we call meditation, a specific kind of meditation. You see, what happens is, usually, same things keep on happening day by day. And we keep on getting stressed again and again. So it may be a good idea to spend 15-20 minutes in the morning and review the important events that can possibly take place during the day. And what kind of stresses or what kind of challenges can arise during those situations. And how do I become prepared for the situation? So you can rehearse the situation and tell your mind, this is what you do, this is how you respond when the situation arises. Thus, you visualize a few situations like that which you think can happen. Rehearse them. Decide your strategy. Prepare the mind. If the mind is ready, it is quite likely that when the situation actually arises, it is able to respond. It may not happen right away. Meaning, even though you have already given a suggestion to your mind, in the heat of situation, mind may react. Doesn't matter. In the evening, you review another 15 minutes where I was able to do things where I did not. So again, train the mind. Look, mind, when this happens again, do this. So morning, the strategy. Evening, the review. This is the process of training the mind. We need to, because mind is a habitual faculty. It habitually reacts, habitually rejects, habitually becomes depressed. So we make it deliberate. And deliberate based on how things should be, based on our understanding of realities of life. So for meeting with the day-to-day stress, something like this kind of practice, some people always create problems, stress for us, like our boss, our colleague. Some people do that. Every day it happens. So I can visualize that person. What can possibly happen today? It can be spouse, it can be child, it can be boss, it can be colleague, it can be anybody. But repeatedly, you may come across new situations which you are not prepared, okay. But very often situations repeat themselves. And every day we keep on reacting and don't learn. So this way we'll be prepared and we will learn. In the evening you learn. In the morning you prepare. During the day you act. Evening you take stock and learn from the situation. So that way we can learn our own mind basically. It is our own mind that we have to learn about. What are its habits? What are its reactions? And how to slowly change the mind to what we want. It's a process, a slow process, but a very rewarding process.
One more question. How does prayer can help?
Yes. Now, in spite of all these efforts, I find that I am not often able to cope with situation. Meaning that I am not strong enough. I am not adequate enough. Even after understanding also, I find that my mind is not able to create that distance, to give up its likes and dislikes. Not able to do that. Means I need help. So prayer is for seeking help. From what? From the universal wisdom? From God if you want? To please give me the wisdom, give me the strength. God, give me serenity to accept gracefully what I cannot change. Give me courage to change what I can. Give me the wisdom to know the difference. So prayer of this or any kind of prayer, yes, is very much, I think prayer has to become a part, because more we become conscious, more we find how we are in need of help, more we see our inadequacy in dealing with things, how we become again and again controlled by our habits. And so prayer has a very important role to play. Yeah, that's right. Done? No more questions?
Completely stress-free.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.